when you are ready to start printmaking, there are a few steps that we need to do. So you'll get a piece of paper, a large piece of paper to do your final prints on. Please take and write your first and last name, small, and your hour somewhere in the corner of your paper so I know who it belongs to. If you're working with a really dark color, you might use a white colored pencil so that we can see it better than pencil. Then you're going to take and set this off to the side. You want to wear an apron. You're going to put newspaper down at your space. You're going to take and get one of these trays over at the printmaking station, and while you're over there, you're going to take some ink and you're going to pour it onto your printing plate. Now you only want about a quarter amount, so you only want to pour out about that much. And then you're also going to want to grab a brayer. So this is called a brayer. This is what we're going to use to roll the ink onto our printing plate. Now this ink here, it looks like it's been sitting a little while. It's kind of separated out, so I want to take for a moment and kind of roll it around to kind of mix it up on my styrofoam tray. Okay, once you have rolled your ink out, and it looks like I might have a little too much now, but we're going to start with that. Then you're going to do what we call a test print. So you're going to set the tray off to the side. You're going to put your printing plate right in front of you, and then you're going to take your brayer and you're going to roll a nice even layer of ink onto your printing plate. Okay, so we're trying to cover the whole thing with ink with a nice even layer. So if I look closely, there shouldn't be any little areas that are picking up my ink, or that's a sign that I haven't carved deep enough. So it looks like I did a pretty good job with my carving, so now I'm ready to test print. So for your test print, I want you to work on just plain white copy paper or scrap paper. Since I chose white ink, it would not work for me to work on copy paper. So I'm going to test print on just a piece of scrap paper that I got out of the yellow scrap bin on the bookshelf. So then I'm going to take and turn it over, and then I'm going to add some gentle pressure. You don't want to push too hard because sometimes the ink can cause the printing plate to move, which then would cause a blurry design. So you want to make sure though that you apply pressure throughout the entire printing plate. If I skipped an area, then I wouldn't see that part of my design. Then very carefully, I'm going to grab it by the corner and lift up. So this one printed pretty well. So I'm going to do another test print just to make sure that I've got the right amount of ink and I've got the right amount of pressure figured out for my printing plate. Now, sometimes printing plates don't work the way that you would expect, and there are some tips and things you can do to improve it. Okay, so I'll show you some of those tips here in just a moment. So we can take and press it down. Another thing you can do sometimes if you're having trouble getting good pressure, you can take a clean brayer and roll it, and I'm using very light pressure to do this so it doesn't slide. You can also use this tool, apply a little bit of pressure there, and then again very carefully peel it back. And so I'm getting some really nice print, so that tells me I'm ready to start my final print. If for some reason I was seeing some white in the areas that I wanted to be the background color, then I would take and wash this off in the sink. You just use water, wash it off really well, dry it with a paper towel, then you'd go check out another lino cutter and get the metal tray, and I would carve out the areas that were showing up that I didn't want in those areas. But since mine is printing the way that I want it to, I'm ready to move on to the next step.